So you just opened your DNA results. You're scrolling through a long list of new relatives, new names that you've never seen before, and there you see it. Next to a mysterious person who is predicted to be your first cousin, there's a number, 950 centimorgans. And now you're probably thinking, what on earth is a centimorgan? Is it like a centimeter? And what does that number actually tell you about your connection to this person? If you felt that mix of both excitement and pure confusion, you're definitely not alone. It's one of the biggest hurdles when you're just starting out reading a DNA test for the first time. But what if I told you that this one confusing number is the key to unlocking your family's real story? Now stick with me here, folks, because by the end of this, you won't just understand what a centimorgan is. You'll know how to use it with confidence to start solving your own family mysteries. So join me as I explain what centimorgans actually mean in your DNA test results today on Trace Your New England Roots. Hello, my friends. Welcome back. Well, this video comes to you today because I have been getting a lot of requests from viewers asking for a deeper dive into these centimorgans, what they really mean, and how to actually use them in your research. Now, we have touched upon them in several of our broader genetic genealogy videos, but today we're slowing things down. It's going to be a shorter video, and we're going to focus in. If you're new to this topic, I strongly recommend heading back to the genetic genealogy playlist and rewatch those earlier videos first. They'll give you the foundation you need so everything we cover here really clicks. So now, first things first, let's get the biggest misconception out of the way. A centimorgan has absolutely nothing to do with physical distance. You can't measure it with a ruler. So then what is it? In the simplest terms, a centimorgan, which is often shortened to cm, is a unit that measures how much DNA you share with someone. You can think of it like a scoring system for your genetic relationships. The more centimorgans you share, the closer you're related. A higher score means a close relative, like a parent or a sibling, while a low score points to a more distant cousin. Your DNA is organized into these long strings called chromosomes, and when you get a DNA match, the testing company has found long identical segments of DNA that you and your match both inherited from a common ancestor. A centimorgan is just simply the unit that is used to measure the length of these shared DNA segments. So now, while it's not a physical length like inches, it is a measurement of your shared genetic inheritance. It's the first and most important clue that you have to figure out just how someone fits into your family tree. And to really get what a centimorgan is, you need to understand that it's a measure of probability, not just length. So now that does sound complicated, but I do promise you it's not. Let's use an analogy. We've used this analogy before in other videos. Imagine that your DNA is a deck of cards, and you get half your cards from your mom, and you get half of your cards from your dad. Now, your mom didn't just hand you her full deck. Instead, she took her own cards which he got from her parents, and then gave them a really good shuffle. This shuffling process is called recombination. And then after shuffling, she hands you your half of the deck, and then your dad does the same. You now have your own full, unique deck of cards that's made from a shuffled mix of your parents' DNA. This shuffling happens in every single generation. And when you and, say, a cousin take a DNA test, the company is basically looking at both of your decks of cards to see how many cards and in which sequence of cards that you have in common in your decks. A centimorgan measures the likelihood that two parts of your DNA will stay together during that shuffling process. If two genes are very close to each other on a chromosome, they're very likely to be passed together. Now, if they're further apart, the shuffle will probably separate them. So a large centimorgan number means that you and your match inherited a big unshuffled chunk of DNA from the same person, a recent common ancestor. While a small CM number means you just share just a few bits and pieces telling you that the common ancestor is much further back in time. And there have been many, many shuffles between you. The term centimorgan does sound super scientific, but it's actually named after a person, and his story involves a whole lot of fruit flies. Now, back in the early 1900s, an American geneticist named Thomas Hunt Morgan was studying heredity. He used fruit flies because, well, to be honest, well, let's face it, they breed incredibly fast, and you can keep thousands of them in just a few milk bottles. Now, after breeding literally thousands of normal red-eyed flies, he one day discovered that there was a single male fly in the batch with white eyes. This was a huge deal, and he started breeding this white-eyed male and meticulously tracked how that trait was passed down. And he found that the gene for eye color was located on the same chromosome that determined the fly's sex. So this was the first concrete proof that genes do actually live on chromosomes. And his work on how genes are linked together and how they can be separated by that shuffling process of recombination laid the foundation for our modern genetics today. And he won the Nobel Prize in 1933 for it. And as an honor, this unit of genetic linkage was thus named the centimorgan. So when you see the word, you can think of Dr. Morgan and his thousands of fruit flies, which helped unlock the secrets of your DNA. So let's now look at the practical application from numbers to relationships. So we've talked enough about history and theory. So now, how do you actually use this number in practice? And this is where it gets really fun. You inherit about half of your DNA from each of your parents. So you'll share around 3,300 to 3,700 centimorgans with your mother and your father. For other relationships, the amount of shared DNA then gets cut in half on an average with each generation. Now, this is what allows us to predict how you're related to someone based on this CM count. And let's look at some of the typical ranges. So we've already mentioned that a parent or child will share around 3,300 to 3,700 CM. Your full siblings share a lot, but it does vary, and it varies typically from 2,300 to 3,900 CM. That variation comes from the random shuffling that we talked about. You and your sibling both got a different mix of your parents' DNA. Grandparents, or aunts and uncles or nieces and nephews will fall into the range of about 1,300 to 2,200 cm. Your first cousins will generally share somewhere between 550 and 1,200 centimorgans. And as the relationships then get more and more and more distant, the numbers get smaller and smaller and smaller, and the ranges get wider. A first cousin once removed, for example, who's your cousin's child, for example, is around 140 to 850 cm. A second cousin is typically between 46 and 515 cm, and then a third cousin can be anywhere from 0 to 217. So you see how those ranges start to overlap, and this is where things do get a little tricky. And trying to remember all these numbers can be a pain. So to help you out, I've created a free link to my Substack to a downloadable guide. It's a one-page cheat sheet with all of these relationship ranges that you can keep handy when you're looking at your DNA matches. And I'll make sure I'll put the link inside the description and the comments. It makes it so much easier to just quickly see the possibilities for each match. Now, it would be amazing if every CM number pointed to just one relationship, but let's face it, genealogy is rarely that simple, and there are a few important complications to keep in mind. The first, as we've just seen, is the overlapping ranges. For example, sharing 500 cms of DNA could mean someone is your first cousin once removed, or maybe a second cousin. The CM number alone only gives you a list of possibilities, but not a final answer. And second, and this just blows people's minds, you can be genealogically related to someone and in fact share no DNA with them. And this usually starts to happen around when you start looking at the third cousin level and beyond. And because DNA inheritance is so random, it is entirely possible that the specific DNA segments that you both inherited from your shared great-great-great-grandparents just didn't happen to be the same segments. And third, some situations can in fact inflate your CM numbers, which compounds this issue. This is common in cases of endogamy, which we've discussed before, where a population has intermarried within a small community for generations and generations, and it can make distant cousins appear much closer genetically than they actually are. You might also have multiple relationships with a match. If your grandparents on one side were distant cousins to your grandparents on the other side, which did happen a lot in small towns, you can be related to someone on multiple family lines, which then adds up this number of shared CMs. The key takeaway here is that the Centimorgan value is your starting point. It's not your final destination. So if the Centimorgan number isn't the whole story, what else do we need? What else do we need to look at? And this is where you get to put on your detective hat. Your single most powerful tool is just building a family tree. Start with what you know and then build it backwards as far as you can. And then you can look at your DNA matches tree and then look for shared surnames, look for shared locations, and you may find common ancestors. And this is how you confirm the relationship that the DNA is suggesting. And then next, use tools designed for this. And the absolute best one, which is especially for beginners, is the shared Centimorgan project tool on the DNA Painter website. It's absolutely free. You just plug in the number of the centimorgans and it gives you a list of possible relationships sorted by how likely they are. It really is an indispensable tool that even the pros use every single day. And finally, as you do become more advanced, you can look at the number and then the size of the shared segments. In general, closer relationships are made of fewer, larger segments of shared DNA. But when you start looking at more distant relationships, you will find that they are made of many small, fragmented pieces. So if you're stuck between two possibilities with similar CM values, looking at the segment data a little deeper can sometimes be the tiebreaker. So that confusing number on your DNA results page, it's not so scary after all. A centimorgan is not a physical measurement. It's a measure of your genetic story that's named after a Nobel Prize winning scientist and his fruit flies. And just remember, if anything, these three things. Number one, it is a unit of shared DNA. The higher number equals closer relative, and it's just simple as that. Number two, it's just possibilities, not certainties. Use a centimorgan chart to see the potential relationships for any given number. It is your first clue. It is not your final answer. You combine that number with family trees and tools like DNA Painter to find the real story. You have just now taken a huge step from being confused by your DNA results to now being empowered by them. That number isn't just data anymore. It's the first clue in a detective story, which is your family story. If this video helped you make sense of your results, please hit that like button and subscribe for more videos to help you unlock your family history. And don't forget to join my Substack. You'll find that chart that I mentioned. It'll help make things simpler for you. As I said, I provide access to exclusive content. And now, folks, I want to hear from you. Let me know in the comment, what's the most surprising or confusing DNA match that you have found so far? I enjoy reading your comments, and it's how we all learn. Thanks for watching. Until next time, this is Eric with Trace Your New England Roots, where history starts with your family.